Welcome back. We only skipped forward a couple thousand feet and have come back quite early to go over a few things while we're still climbing. I want to go over the climb performance page on the MD11. First though, let's have a look at the PFD and ND to summarize our current position. We are right on the magenta reference speed, with that speed being maintained by pitch mode and climb thrust. Nav is our roll mode with autopilot 2 in command. 33,000 feet is set as the target altitude. Looking at the ND now, top of climb is indicated after sighted by the magenta circle labeled flight level 330. The cyan arrow indicates the point at which we will arrive at the altitude set on the FCP. In our case, the set altitude is 33,000 feet, so the two match up just perfectly. If we were to reduce the FCP altitude, the arrow would move accordingly. Now going over to the MD11 now, and on its flight plan page, the top of climb will be indicated between SITET and ETRAT, complete with an estimated time over at 13:52. Pressing the performance function key takes us to the climb performance page, currently titled Econ Climb. 2, 3, and 4 left show the 3 performance modes available to us. The enlarged mode is the active mode. In our case, this is Econ, which stands for Economy. This also corresponds with the title of the page. Econ climb speed is dependent on the cost index entered in the flight plan initialization page. Cost index 80 gives us, at this weight, an econ climb speed of Mach 0.824. If you look over the PFD, you can see that we are maintaining this exact Mach number. 3 left allows us to select max climb. This would give us maximum angle of climb. Note how the calculated speed is. This tends to be only slightly above Vmin. Pressing 3 left would activate this, and the title of the page would change accordingly. 4 left gives us the option of specifying our climb speed. 1 right shows the altitude that the provided figures are calculated for. This changes when the FCP altitude is adjusted, and the calculations will change accordingly. 2 and 3 right show the estimated time of arrival at and distance to top of climb for the Econ and max climb performance modes, respectively. 4 right would show this information for edit speed if speed had been specified. 6 left shows the transition altitude of the origin airport. In the real aircraft, this figure would be taken from the nav database. In Flight Simulator, however, the navigation database does not contain this information, so manual entry of transition altitude is allowed here. The default value is 18,000 feet. The number in this field governs the point at which figures go from altitudes to flight levels on the flight plan page. Ideally, we should have covered this in the pre-flight. To the right of this field, optimum and maximum flight level for our cost index and weight are shown. The climb forecast page is accessible from 5 right. This allows entry of winds and temperatures at different altitudes on the active flight plan, which the FMS will then compensate for when calculating performance and progress estimates. 6 right returns to the previous page. Finally, the thrust limits page is available in 6 right. This allows manual selection of different available thrust limits. The arrow indicates that climb thrust is currently active. Line selecting any thrust limit will engage manual mode and set that thrust limit. Since we are currently in pitch mode, thrust would be set automatically to the new selected thrust setting. An option to return to automatic mode would then be available in 4 right. We won't demonstrate that, however, as we want to keep the system in auto and not tamper with our climb. So press 6 right to return to the climb performance page. Pressing the page key takes us to the cruise performance page. This is currently in pre-select mode, as we have not yet reached the cruise phase. Pressing page again would take us to the descent performance page, again in pre-select mode. I will leave the MD11 on this page for now, however, and it will automatically change to Econ Cruise once we reach top of climb. Our 1,000 foot warning just sounded, as you can see on the PFD and ND, that we are approaching 33,000 feet, top of climb. The autopilot will start capturing the selected altitude when a 0.05 circular path to it is intercepted. This gives us a nice, gentle level off. So watch the FMA modes. Speed will switch to thrust, roll will remain nav, and the altitude mode will switch to hold. All should remain magenta as the FMS is still in control. So note the change on the big do. Most obvious is that the page title has changed from pre-select cruise to econ cruise. This is because we have left the climb phase and are now in the cruise phase. Also, looking at the page number, it has changed from 2 of 3 to 1 of 2, as the climb page is no longer available for the rest of the flight. The page is actually very similar to the climb performance page. In 2, 3, and 4 left, different FMS speed modes are available. Econ speed is active, which gives us the most economical cruise Mach for our current cost index. Max endurance speed will give us the maximum time aloft with minimum drag. Edit allows for a cruise selected Mach. Just like the climb page, line selecting any of these will activate them and change the title of the page accordingly. Optimum cruise and max flight level are shown at the very bottom. One right shows the distance to top of descent and estimated time at that point. This field will also show distance to the next step climb if applicable. We will cover step climbs in more detail on the other flights. Let's now look at the progress page. Press the progress function key. The progress page gives us information on how the flight is progressing. Imagine that. So line 1 shows the last waypoint we passed over. It says that we passed over SciTet at 1351 Zulu at flight level 313. Line 2 shows the next waypoint and the estimated time that we will pass over it. It also shows the forecast altitude at that point. Line 3 shows the waypoint after that. Line 4 shows the current outside air temperature, current wind, and the current usable fuel on board. We have less than expected at this point, actually, partially because we spent so long sitting on the ground explaining systems with the APU running and burning fuel. Line 5 shows the estimated time of arrival, distance to go, and the estimated fuel on board at the destination. Line 6 shows equivalent information for the alternate. This page is very useful for a quick snapshot of how the flight is progressing and when you're likely to arrive at your destination. I think we've covered just about everything we can at this point, and nothing of particular significance happens during the cruise phase on a flight this short. So we'll cut out now and rejoin in about 45 minutes as we're approaching the top of descent.